All right, guys, welcome back here. Welcome back. After some technical difficulties here this morning, we'll get started here this morning. Thank you guys for your patience getting started here. Welcome back for a Monday edition of our crude oil morning prep. We're going from the screen to the floor this morning. My name is Joseph James. Hope you guys had a great weekend out there. We got some important news here to talk about this morning, starting at 8:30 a.m. And I've got a pretty simple, simple and straightforward prep for us this morning. It's going to give us a great plan of attack. Now, my name is Joseph James. I'm a lonely old day trader here with School of Trade. Come out and join me every day, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time in our live trade room for trading with School of Trade. In the meantime, though, this morning, I'll provide you with a technical approach, a top-down approach, starting with weekly charts and daily charts. I'll analyze London and see what's happening overnight. And my goal this morning is to anticipate the direction at the open, because I'm looking for those high percentage trading opportunities starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. So my job is to find those low-risk, high-reward opportunities that are going to use what we're seeing happening overnight and what's happened over the past few days and weeks. Now, once I'm done preparing my charts this morning with you, I want to go all the way across the country now over to Marty Errico at Traders Audio. Marty and his partner Jeffrey, they do a great job every morning running a live broadcast of Traders Audio that starts at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Marty will provide us with some very unique information this morning. In other words, he'll be providing us with pit analysis, starting with market direction, intermarket divergence, market internals, different market option prices, and of course, those always very important, those pit session trading levels. So keep an eye out for those pit session trading levels here this morning. Looking at this now, we'll jump right into some charts today. Looking at the first few charts this morning, I want to start first of all with a daily chart here of crude oil futures. Looking at a daily chart this morning, actually, what we'll do is we'll start right out with the news here this morning. I'll grab that daily chart in just a few seconds. I'm going to run right down this relatively quickly. Looking at the news here this morning, I'll go over to Econo Day, and we do have some major news on the schedule this morning starting at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You'll notice we've got a number of Red Star news events this week. Be on the lookout, though. We have 8:30 a.m. news this morning, that 8:30 news starting at for retail sales. We got retail sales and Empire State Manufacturing. That's going to be two important news events here for crude oil futures this morning. Just taking a look briefly here at the calendar this week, we can see we got red news today, red news tomorrow, red news on Wednesday, and red news on Thursday. That means we are expecting a very busy week here this week. Looking at today, though, 8:30 is our starting point today, though, for our news. Okay, so mark it on your calendar, 8:30 and 10 o'clock news this morning. Red news event starts us off today. Moving forward now, I'm going to grab a look at a daily chart now of crude oil. Daily chart of crude, let me grab that for us right here. And of course, the first thing we see on this daily chart of crude, the big bullish channel. We've got this big bullish price channel, and you can see we're headed right towards the symmetrical resistance overhead. A, B, C, D creates the channel. We can see that price is moving higher, but remember, folks, if this is a daily chart or a weekly chart, I'm not going to be using this for much more than I'm asking that pivotal question, that important question. Is there any resistance overhead? Is there any support below? Is this daily chart telling me that I cannot trade in one direction or the other? Think about it. If my daily chart is sitting at major resistance, I'm not going to be looking to buy. If the daily chart is sitting at major support, well, I probably should avoid selling. Now that we know what to look for on a daily chart or a weekly chart, first thing that comes to mind is we are not trading into major resistance. We are not trading into major support. And with that said, we can also see a narrowing of price action. We can also see a price wedge is formed here. We can see lower highs. We can see higher lows. If you look at the candlestick, you can see this wicks, the tops and the bottoms. And so this really gives us an easy clue. We can leave both sides open today. We don't have any major support or major resistance. We can also see that a narrowing trading range is probably going to result in a price wedge, a sideways trading range on some of the faster time frames that we look at. So the daily chart, and we don't get this very often, the daily chart is really telling us probably all we need to be aware of today. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at what else we have to work with. Moving from a daily chart now, I want to look at a 4-hour. This 4-hour chart gives us even more important information. We can see we are way up at the highs of that bull channel, but more importantly, though, we can see this sideways trading range. We can see the support at 104.31. We can see the resistance at 107.45. This, my friends, is our trading range this morning. So find that 104.31, find that 107.45. We're going to buy those lows. We're going to sell those highs. Understanding that the daily chart has already confirmed this sideways range, now we're seeing more of it on a 4-hour. Now, what happens if we break below 104.31? Absolutely. Now we've broken out of that range, and we can expect the prices will try to tumble down to this 100, right, down to this 100 to 98.32. So we look at the trading range here. We can see we have a sideways trading range on crude. Trade inside that range in the short term. In the long term, though, we will be looking for this price to break out as it retraces lower, or possibly here with that news coming out at 8:30 this morning, it may try to break out and go higher, 107.45. So we're trading inside the range. That's the first thing we're seeing this morning. Now, once we're done with the range, if we do break out, we have easy information here now to tell us how and where to break out. Now that we're done with the 4-hour chart, I'm going to quickly jump over now to a 60-minute. Of course, having some technical difficulties this morning, I'm going to grab a chart snapshot of it here first. Here's a 60-minute chart now of crude oil. And what I want is to see on the 60-minute chart of crude, you can see right away we have that same bull channel. That 60-minute chart shows us, same thing as the 4-hour, same thing as the daily. But now look at just how sideways and range-bound this market personality is. We've got range highs. There's that 107.45. I've got range lows. There's that 104.31. So you can see this is the range that we saw on the 4-hour, right? That's the range we just saw on the 4-hour chart. So that looks fine. That looks the same. But now look at the information we've been able to add into this. If we take out our fib tools and we measure for symmetry, we can see there's a symmetry pattern here, but we are having a very difficult time staying above this 104.79, 104.16 area. We can see there's major resistance up at 107.09, 106.78. Guys, this chart alone shows us where we're going to be buying lows. We're going to be selling highs. Guys, this tells us two-sided trading. Now, as I move forward, let's move down to my last time frame here this morning. Let's go down to a 5-minute. The 5-minute chart of crude oil gives us even more information. Now we can see we have the price wedge. If I zoom all the way out on this 5-minute chart, I can see we have this narrow wedge developing. I can see I have a sideways trading range inside of the London trading session. I can see I've got 105.89 to 105.75 resistance overhead. I am bullish in the short term right now on crude oil going from lows to highs. Don't forget, as we go higher here, we have resistance at 105.75. I have the top of this price wedge, 106.20. The price reversal zone, 106.20 to 106.50. As we keep going overhead, I've got a previous high of day at 106.95. I've got 107.29 up above us. Again, these charts, along with all of my notes, are posted already this morning on our blog. So check out the blog here right now for all of today's charts. As we go lower this morning, I have to worry about that trend line that makes up the wedge lows. I've got my price reversal zone from 105.11 down to 104.81. I have the very important, the previous low of day, 104.45, 104.44. Very important. We must be aware here. I've got previous low of day, previous low of day, previous low of day. I got 3 of them here, starting at 104.45 down to 104.25. Look for a bunch of support there at that 104.44 area. Okay, so as we go higher or lower, we can easily see the previous high of day is right above us. We can easily see the previous low of day is right below us. Members of mine, what does that mean? That means keep an eye out for that inside-out pattern today, right? How many times do we get that inside-out setup every day on crude? At least 6 to 7 times. We see the previous low of day tested, we're going to buy it. Previous high of day, look at that. It's already been tested once already today. Are we going to get another one today? We'll wait and see what happens. We are buying lows. We are selling highs. But you know what, guys? This is just what my charts are telling me. I'm curious. I wonder if my good friend Marty over there, Marty's been braving the elements there in the NYMEX exchange. Marty, what are you seeing over there, my friend? Are you seeing the same thing that I'm seeing? Are you seeing sideways trading ranges today? Are you thinking, we got 8:30 news this morning. Are you thinking sideways ranges too? Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, JJ. Happy Monday. So, yeah, I'm very interested in this 8:30 news. Really want to see what these retail sales come out to be. I'm already really focused on retail sales. I really don't care too much about the business inventories. My focus is on retail sales this morning at 8:30. So I'm also going to really want to keep an eye on this little bit of a sideways range. Now, I do have a very similar sideways range as JJ does, right? I'm looking at a very similar type of range here that JJ was mentioning earlier, and I basically see it right here. We're talking 104.30, right? I got 104.30 to 104.30 to 106.40 here. So again, it's a little bit of a sideways range. Again, 104.30, right? You see that 104.30, and then we got 106.40, right? So it's going to be a sideways range, I think. Trade within the range, right? Now we're going to be waiting for a breakout above or below it. Now if we break out above this 106, let's call it 106.40, right? I'd rather call it 106.40. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So 106.40. Once we break above that 106.40, then I can look for 107, 45, 108, even, and 110, because that's what they're really targeting up in the pit. In the pit, they're showing their hand right now, right? The locals are showing their hand, and they're saying, listen, we're net long here. We're looking for 108 and 110, right? The paper, not so much. The paper's been hiding their hand, and they've been doing a little bit of selling profit, taking off that 107.45 because they've been net long the whole way up. So you can see we're towards the bottom of this range, right? The highest percentage trade would most likely be to buy that low below, buy the low below the wedge here, right? 107.27, 104.27, 104.30, right? I'd like to buy that low up into the highs of this wedge. So I'm interested here in trading within this range of 104.30 to 106.40, right? If we break above 106.40, then we're going to be bullish up towards the high end of the range, and we can get up towards possibly that 108. If we do fall below the 104, I'm going to be looking for 102. 102.57. Hold on, actually, let me just show you this while it's here. 102.57, 102.13, 102.44. That's 101.44. Sorry, those are going to be the change in trend. That will be the official downtrend if we do fall below these levels, close and settle below those levels, I should say. At 230, if we close and settle below these levels, that will be the change in trend. That will be the official downtrend. Don't think we'll get there. I think we'll end up trading within this range with a possible pop above it here, again, depending on how aggressive they are buying those calls in the pit. Natural gas has been also very sideways within range, right? Remember we tested those lows in that range on Friday, and I believe it was ended up being a very nice buy at 357.40, right? So we bought that low, and now we end up trading back within this wedge. I say we test 370, and then we can resell the 370 back down to the low. So again, I'm looking to test 370, trade back within range, trade sideways until we can get a variable to break out in natural gas. So trade within range on natural gas, very type of simple trade. Again, looking to sell the highs and rebuy the lows. Very, very, very simple game plan of attack on the natural gas. And that's really it. Let's just take a look at some levels here. Again, let me talk about the multiple market divergence as well early this morning. I'm watching your crude trading just a little bit lower now this morning, but running into support. Okay, let me be clear about this. Crude is trading a little bit lower today, running into some support, as is the RBOB, as is the heating oil. Again, RBOB and heating oil have been leading the way for the crude, so it's very, very important to watch these three markets together. I also have your Brent crude trading just a little bit lower today, but coming on to some support in the Augie and SEP contract. We're going to be watching Brent SEP today, actually. Only Brent SEP. How about that? The Brent WTI spread has been just kind of widening out just a bit, so that's a little bearish. But again, it's nothing that's too aggressive that will create a lot of selling. I believe we're going to be selling into some support and rebuying that support and trading back higher. Again, very simple game plan of attack. If you look with me, volatility has been rising, holding steady and firm. That's a bullish factor as well. With now your levels that I'm going to give you once again, pit session levels from Friday. I got 106.07 at your high, 104.78 your low. We end up closing and settling day at 105.93. Once again, that's 105.93. You're closing your settlement number here, right here, guys. Once again, 105.93. Daily pivot today is going to be 105.59. I got resistance up above at 106.41, 106.88, 108.18, Support down below, I got 105.12, nice buying opportunity. 104.30, best buying opportunity, and 103.01. Again, those are decent buying opportunities all there. Overall, open interest has been and continue to be falling in the August contract, gaining in the September contract. Will be rolled to SEP real shortly. As I mentioned, 108, 110 calls, trading the pit over 7,000 times, open outcry, nothing but buying them up. The puts, they protect themselves to the downside very lightly, only 2,000 for each strike level shown on the screen. Let me just remind you here also, natural gas has been and continue to be trading within that wedge as we looked at just a few moments ago, right? As we trade within that wedge on natural gas, we can see that your high of the wedge is up around 375 or so. 377.80 really is a high of that wedge, and that's funny, it's your R3. But most importantly, let's look here. I got 369.20, your high from the pit session on Friday. Your low from the pit session on Friday, 363.10. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll end up closing and selling the day at 364.5 within that range. Daily pivot today, 365.60, which we are actually trading above at the moment. We just popped above that daily pivot. Resistance up above, I got 368.10. 371.70, 377.80. Support down below, 362 even, 359.5, and I also have 353.40. Implied volatility, 31%. Open interest continues to fall in the Augie. Gain in the SEP. Overall, that is somewhat of a sideways indication here with volatility holding levels around 30%. Alrighty, guys, that's about it for me. Again, I'm running just a little late this morning, so I will see you all very shortly here. Talking 8:50 this morning. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to hand it back over to Mr. JJ over in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Marty. As always, appreciate you sticking with us here this morning. Sorry for all the technical difficulties getting started. Want to thank you all for being here today as well. Thank you guys for sticking around with us today and dealing with us a little bit of technical difficulties. You know, I always say this, right? Whenever the computer doesn't treat us well early in the morning, I always tend to have a really great trading day, almost as if the trading gods are rewarding us for our patience and our stick-to-itiveness. Well, that's a Monday morning broadcast for you guys. I want to remind you guys, as always, we love your feedback. Send me your feedback at jj@schooloftrade.com, right? Send it to marty@tradersaudio.com. We love your feedback. We're always trying to improve this broadcast. Keep an eye on new improvements coming in the very near future, and don't forget to keep in touch. We have news this morning starting at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and I also want to remind you that every day of the week, Monday through Sunday, 24 hours a day, you can find all of our chart notes and all of our broadcast recaps on our crude oil squawk prep. Head over to sidewaysmarkets.com, and you'll see a link right on the blog homepage called Crude Oil Squawk and Prep. Head over there, and you've got all of the notes here today for you, right, already posted there for you right now. I'm going to add Marty's notes. I'll add today's video, and we'll see you guys here. We're now on a 23-hour and 30-minute break. I'll see you guys here for a Tuesday edition of the Crude Oil Squawk, going from the screen here in Los Angeles down to the trading floor in New York City. Thank you to Marty Errico. Thank you to Traders Audio. Thank you to all of our students here at School of Trade, and thank you to all of you guests out there coming in and joining us here for the first time. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.